Imagine a small town in the heart of Burgundy, France, in the year 1522. The air is thick with the scent of freshly turned earth and ripening crops. But beneath this idyllic scene, a crisis is brewing. In Autun, about 300 kilometers south of Paris, the people are in distress. Their fields, once golden with barley and wheat, are under siege, not by an army of soldiers, but by an army of rats. These tiny, relentless creatures scurry through barns, raid granaries, and devour the harvests that sustain the town. With famine looming, the townsfolk are desperate for a solution. And in their deeply religious world, they turn not to traps or poison, but to the solemn halls of justice. What unfolds is one of the strangest trials in history, where the defendants are not humans, but the rats themselves. In this era, the Catholic Church holds sway over both spiritual and earthly matters, and the people of Autun see the rat infestation as more than a mere nuisance. To them, it's a sign, perhaps a divine punishment, or a test of their faith. The Bishop of Autun, a figure of authority in this devout community, agrees to address the crisis through the ecclesiastical court. The rats, they decide, must face trial for their crimes of theft and destruction. To represent these unlikely defendants, the court appoints a young lawyer named Bartholomew Chassanet, a man whose ambition and sharp mind are already turning heads. Though defending rats might seem like a fool's errand, Chassanet takes the case with the seriousness of a seasoned advocate, treating his furry clients as if they deserve the same rights as any human standing before the law. Picture the scene, a grand, candlelit chamber in Autun, where robed officials gather to hear the case. The prosecution, speaking for the farmers and townsfolk, is fierce in their accusations. They describe the rampage, how they've stripped fields bare and left families on the brink of starvation. The charges are clear. The rats are guilty of threatening the very survival of the community, and justice must be served, whether through excommunication or some other divine penalty. The room buzzes with anticipation as Chassanet rises to speak, his expression calm, but his mind alight with strategy. What follows is a display of legal brilliance that will echo through history. Chassanet begins by challenging the court's process. He argues that the rats, as defendants, have not been properly summoned to appear. In medieval law, even animals are entitled to a fair chance to answer charges. And Chassanet points out that the court's notices, posted in the town square, are unlikely to reach creatures who dwell in barns and burrows. With a mix of wit and conviction, he demands that the summons be read aloud in the rats' natural habitats, fields, granaries, and shadowy corners. It's a bizarre spectacle, one that underscores the peculiarity of this trial. When the rats, predictably, fail to show up in court, the prosecution pushes for a conviction in their absence. But Chassanet is ready with another argument, one as clever as it is audacious. He declares that his client's failure to appear is justified, for the journey to Autun's courthouse is fraught with peril. Cats prowl the alleys, traps lie in wait, and hostile humans stand ready to crush any rat that dares to venture forth. By framing the rats as vulnerable creatures, Chassanet turns the trial into a question of fairness. How can the court demand attendance when the defendants face mortal danger? The judges, caught in their own principles of justice, are forced to pause and consider this dilemma, delaying the proceedings as they grapple with the impossible task of ensuring safe passage for a horde of rodents. As the trial unfolds, Chassanet delivers his most profound defense yet, one that reaches beyond the courtroom and into the realm of theology. He argues that the rats are not acting out of malice, but are simply following their God-given instincts. To condemn them, he suggests, would be to question the divine order itself. Are the rats any different from floods or locusts, natural forces that challenge humanity? This argument shifts the mood in the room, forcing the judges to wrestle with uncomfortable questions. If the rats are agents of divine will, can the court truly hold them accountable? The trial, once a straightforward matter of justice, becomes a philosophical puzzle, blending law, faith, and the mysteries of the natural world. The records of history grow hazy when it comes to the trial's conclusion. Some say the case was adjourned indefinitely, with no clear verdict ever reached. Others whisper that the rats were excommunicated, a symbolic gesture that carried little weight against their relentless nibbling. What is certain is that the trial did little to stop the rats' destruction. The people of Autun likely turned to practical measures, cats, traps, and better storage to protect their crops. But for Bartholomew Chassanet, the trial was a triumph. His clever arguments earned him a reputation as a lawyer who could defend the indefensible, paving the way for a distinguished career. The rats, meanwhile, scurried on, oblivious to the legal drama that had unfolded in their name. This strange tale offers a glimpse into a world far different from our own, where animals could stand trial, and the boundaries between human, animal, and divine were fluid. In medieval Europe, such cases were not unheard of. Pigs, cows, and even insects faced similar proceedings, each trial a way to restore order in a chaotic world. For the people of Autun, the trial was a desperate attempt to make sense of a crisis, a blend of faith, law, and a touch of absurdity. For us, it's a reminder of how our ancestors navigated challenges with a worldview that feels both foreign and fascinating. So, the next time you hear a rustle in the shadows or catch a glimpse of a mouse darting by, think of the rats of Autun, creatures who, for one brief moment in 1522, stood at the center of a courtroom drama and, thanks to a brilliant lawyer, nearly escaped the scales of justice.